Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Heather and this is where we talk about all things books. Today is a coffee and book chat. We are going to be talking about The Red Palace. So go grab your coffee and let's go talk about this book. Okay, I'm gonna have to put my coffee down. I'm gonna have to put it down because I like to talk with my hands and I can't hold my coffee and talk with my hands and hold the book. So let's go. This book is about a young woman named June who has trained since a child to become a nurse. She has trained as hard as she could, and she did this because she wants to earn the respect and acceptance of her father. She is an illegitimate child, and so she doesn't have anything to do with her father. Her father basically has said, I don't care about you, and has thrown her and her mom to the side. And her mom doesn't really have anything to do with her either because she wanted a boy, and obviously she is not a boy. So, that being said, Nurse June is in the palace. That's where the story begins. She has entered into the palace as a nurse and has been called along with one other nurse to go to the prince's chamber with the doctor because the prince is sick. When they arrive there, they see that the person in the prince's bed is not even the prince. It is a eunuch pretending to be the prince. They are creating an alibi because the prince has left the palace and he's not supposed to. It's illegal, I believe. That's what they said. But it's against the rules for the prince to leave the palace, but he did anyway because he doesn't want to be there. So that's where we are. Then you have, during the night, a gruesome murder happens at the Nurse June's nursing school. So she goes there and finds 4 bodies of people that go to that school, and she is known and cared for, along with a commander that is trying to pin the murders on her mentor, Nurse Chong-Soo. So that is the gist of it. Then you throw in an inspector who is around the same age. He's young and he wants to find the actual person that committed the murders because it closely resembles another murder in another village that he was at. So he wants to see if it's the same person that committed murders in both places so he can bring justice to both of them. Because Nurse June is in the palace, he realizes that he needs her help to get information from the palace to see who it is, because the main culprit is the crown prince. So that is the beginning. That is a brief summary. You have these 2 people coming together to figure out who the actual murderer is, and hopefully it's not the crown prince because they are trying to keep their life. And if it is the crown prince, then hopefully they will keep their life. Okay, so there's a lot of palace intrigue in here. You see Nurse June in there. She encounters concubines, the crown prince, and even the crown prince's wife. You have all of them in there. There are spies in there. There's danger lurking around every corner. She is chased through the woods by a masked person. There's definitely danger. There's definitely political intrigue. You have a concubine who wants the crown prince to be the person, so she's trying her best to find all the information she can to pin it all on the crown prince. Then you have poor Nurse Chong-Soo, who is being basically thrown under the bus, and so that's why Nurse June wants to help the inspector to find the correct person. She wants to save the life of her mentor and mother figure, the only person that has shown her any kind of love and kindness in her life. It is definitely an exciting ride. I enjoyed every single bit of this book, and I didn't want to put it down. I did not want to put this book down, but I had to because, I'm an adult and mother and I have responsibilities. Plus I had a funeral to go to, so I had to definitely stop reading it then. However, I did still end up finishing it within 2 days because I had the audiobook and I listened to it any chance that I could. I loved the audiobook so much that I got the hardcover book, and I'm so glad because I'm going to let a friend borrow this now so she can read it and tell me what she thinks about it. Now, let's get into things that I liked and didn't like. There will be some spoilers in here, and I'll preface it before I say them, but overall, all of these will mostly be spoiler free. I won't say the spoiler ones until the end. So, first things first, one thing that I did like, I enjoyed the pacing. Right off the bat, you are in it. The murders happen, you are there, you meet the inspector, and then everything just snowballs from there. It's exciting. The pacing was done very well. Even the end, where a lot of times people, or I've noticed authors, will either rush the ending or they'll slow down and drag it on. This did not occur, at least not to me. I did not feel like that it drug anywhere or it rushed through anything. I felt like that the pacing was done very well. And moving on to the next one, I liked that it showed the internal struggle of Hyun. She struggled a lot, especially when it came to her father and earning his acceptance, because during the investigation, she encounters her father a couple times, and he tells her the first time, don't investigate this, keep your head down, mind your own business, do your work, and focus on only that. Don't even try and figure out who the person is. You just stay in your lane. And so she had to go home and figure out whether or not she was willing to basically disobey her father and maybe possibly lose his respect and acceptance forever. And she eventually comes to the point where she's like, I have to. I cannot just sit by and let an innocent person die because my father says I shouldn't do it, especially a father who wants nothing to do with me anyway and has basically thrown me to the side. So she had to struggle with that, and it shows that internal struggle so well of yearning for that acceptance, for that love from a parent and not getting it at all. And then you have another part in the book where she gets caught again inspecting it, basically trying to find information, and she's handed over to her father, and her father basically berates her, tells her she needs to beg for forgiveness, and tells her she needs to stop with the investigation and everything, and she basically says, no, I'm not going to. The investigation's not over. I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to save my mentor. And I'm like, good job. Good job. That was done very, very well. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that part so much. Like I said, the internal struggles, it was done very well without it being repetitive and without it being whiny. Because I know in a lot of young adult books, it tends to be both of those, or one or the other, where it's constantly said throughout the book, or it's just comes out as a little whiny. And this one was done very, very well, and I am here for it. I am definitely here for that. Another thing that I really enjoyed was the relationship between the inspector Ojin and Hyun. They start out kind of iffy because Hyun believes that he is on the same level as her, and Hyun believes that Ojin is a servant, but she ends up finding out that he's actually the inspector and a very high ranking one, and so she feels a little out of place and constantly is very formal to him even though he asks her not to be. But she doesn't know how to be anything other than respectful of the title because that's the way she was raised. So you have them starting out like that, and then their relationship slowly grows into something so beautiful. You can even see it. It's honestly very subtle, because if you're not looking for it, you won't see it. But it's in touches, in glances, even in the way that they communicate with each other, checking in to make sure each other's okay, buying dinner for each other, making food for each other, and even promising to have each other's back. It's there, and it was so sweet. It is a slow burn, and I loved it. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Another thing I enjoyed the development of the mother. You see her as a very closed off, cold mother at the beginning, and then even Hyun says that she doesn't even realize who her mother is, and didn't really see the type of person she is throughout the book. And I enjoyed them revealing the mother more throughout the book as the character of her mother was revealed to Hyun. And to me, that was really, really good. I enjoyed seeing that. Now, on to things that I did not like. I actually had to sit back and think for a minute about things that I didn't like about the book, because overall, I enjoyed most of the book. And the things that I didn't like are kind of just nitpicky things, really. There's not really anything that's really big that I didn't dislike. Mostly, the one thing that I did not like is the stuff about the sister. We are told that Hyun looks exactly like the prince's sister, and so she should not let him see her face. That is said within the first chapter. That's not a spoiler. I'm just saying it was said. And then nothing else is said about the sister other than she looks exactly like the sister. But why shouldn't she let him see her face? What happened there? What happened with the sister to cause that to be an issue? Just what happened? What happened with the sister? I want to know what happened with the sister. Okay? But nothing was said, and I'm a little disappointed. I wanted to know. Is that part of the reason he started acting the way he did? Is that part? Did she die because of murder? Was she condemned to death because of the king, and now the prince hates the king because of the sister's death? What happened with the sister? What happened? I want to know. Okay, so there's that. And then another thing is that I didn't like was I wanted more from the prince. I wanted to know more about him, but I understand based on the author's notes why she didn't put him in there more and focus on him more. And I understand that, and also I understand the fact that Hyun wasn't exactly a concubine or consort, whatever you want to call it, and she was just a nurse, so she wasn't going to have as many interactions with him. But I still wanted to see more of his character and learn more about who he was. I felt like I wanted more about the things to know more about the things that were going on in that aspect. But we didn't get more of that. And that's okay, because the story went a different route. And I'm okay with that too, because like I said, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And the last thing that I don't like, I'm going to put in the spoiler section because it contains a really major spoiler. So here's your warning. This is a spoiler that's coming up. So if you haven't read this book, then please skip ahead to where I talk about my overall feelings of the book, and I will see you there. Otherwise, spoilers start in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the last thing that I did not like was the character development of Ojin. He basically didn't have any character development. He was the same character throughout, and maybe that's a good thing. There's a steady character in there, but I still would have liked to see a little more of an internal struggle with the fact that he knows that it was the prince that killed his father. And he wants to find justice for that. However, when it's presented to him, if he's doing this for justice or if he's doing this for revenge, he immediately says, I am doing this for justice because my father said that revenge is not good, basically. I can't exactly remember the exact quote. I cannot remember the exact quote. So basically it's revenge bad, justice good. Seek justice, not revenge. That's pretty much what it was. So that was it. There wasn't any kind of conflict or any kind of hint that he already went through that conflict, and there was no discussion about that. It was just, no, I'm not seeking revenge because my father said this. I'm seeking it for justice because I want there to be justice in this. And I get it. I understand that he wants justice, but yeah. Okay, let's talk about some spoilers. This book right here, there's the main spoiler of who the murderer is. And actually, I didn't realize who she was. I didn't realize the person that it was. I honestly thought the person that was the murderer was the concubine that was Hyun's childhood friend. That's who I thought it was. And she just hired someone to murder those nurses. I didn't realize that who it was until all the clues were thrown out, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. And I probably would have realized it if I actually read the book, but I didn't. I was listening to it on audiobook, so I didn't actually connect the pieces until a little later in the book. I thought the nurse had something to do with it. I thought she was just an informant and spy for the concubine that was the childhood friend. Can't remember her name, but I thought she was involved some way, but I didn't realize she was the actual murderer, and that surprised me because I was not expecting it. I was not expecting her to be the main person at all. So overall, I was surprised, absolutely surprised, and did not think that she was the murderer at all. I did not think that person was it. Okay, so spoilers are over. Let's move on to my overall thoughts. I really enjoyed this book a whole lot. It honestly is one of my favorites now, and I will definitely be reading more from June Hur. And it is also my first 5-star book of 2024. Now from there, I will say there is blood and there is a little bit of gore, and it does talk about different wounds and bones protruding from the body. And so if you are a little sensitive to gore and don't really care for it, I will say to be careful when reading this because it does come up in several areas. It is a murder mystery after all. So, and thriller, because she is chased by the murderer at one point in the book. So after all of that, I would definitely say I recommend this book for you to read. Absolutely. And I want you to come back and let me know exactly what you thought about the book, how you liked it, and if you didn't like it, or if you decided not to even read it, that's okay too. But that is all that I have for today. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye.